Hey guys, this is Rachel with Cypress Textiles, and today we're going to be making the Melbourne Square from the 2020 VVCAL. So I'm using shaved use katana, and I'm going to make 3 chains here. I've already done my slip knot. I've chained 3, and I'm going to go into the 3rd chain from the hook with a slip stitch to make a ring. You can start with magic ring or chaining 4, chaining 5, whatever you prefer. But I just like to chain 3 and join with a slip stitch. So the first thing we're going to do is go straight into the center with our beginning DC. So without chaining up, just go straight into the center and pull up a loop for a single crochet, and then just go ahead and make that single and chain 1. And this is actually going to be the first DC of the round. So beginning DC is single crochet, chain 1. Now we're going to chain 1 again, and that's going to be a chain space, a chain 1 space. So now jumping into our repeat, we're going to do 3 double crochet into this center ring. Okay, so our repeat is going to be chain 1, 3 DC. And we'll do that until we have a total of 12 DC and 4 chain spaces. All right, so we've got 3 DC there. Now we're going to chain 1 and make another set of 3 DC. And this is going to be for round 1, and whenever you get to your beginning DC, I'll show you what you're going to do here. Another 3 DC. And then chain 1. And that's our last chain 1, so you can see what I've got going here. It's going to be a little square. I'm going to go ahead and pull my tail. I've been working on over the tail, so I'm just going to pull it a little bit to close that center ring a little. And now I'm going to make my final 2 double crochet in here. And I'm only making 2 this time because I've got my beginning DC, and that completes my first set of 3 DC. So here's right before I join. So I'm going to join into my beginning DC by going straight into the chain of the beginning DC with a slip stitch. And just make sure that slip stitch isn't too tight because it's supposed to lay over the single crochet chain 1 to kind of complete the stitch. So here's round 1 all finished. Now the first thing we're going to do is work straight into this chain space for round 2. So without chaining up, work straight into this chain space with a single crochet and then chain 5 and make another single crochet in the same chain space and then chain 4. All right, and now you're going to make just single crochet, chain 5, single crochet in the next chain space, and that's your repeat. 3, 4, 5, single crochet in the same chain space, and then chain 4 to travel to the next chain space. Okay, so here's how round 2 is going to be started, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, here's how my round 2 looks completed, and I did go ahead and join with the slip stitch in the first single crochet right here. And now I'm going to slip stitch in the first 3 chains. So that's going to move me up to the middle of my chain 5 space. So just go straight into the chain with the slip stitch. And again, make sure your slip stitch isn't too tight because you don't want any buckling. You just want it to lay straight over that chain. So my next one, oop, I dropped a loop there. And then a 3rd one. Okay, so you've just traveled up the chain space all the way to the top, and you won't notice it whenever your square is all finished. Okay, so now we're going to work 2 chains, and then we're going to work 5 double crochet in this chain 4 space. So we'll do 5 double crochet straight into that chain space. 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so now we're going to chain 2 again. Here's how we're looking so far. And now we'll slip stitch into the top of this chain space. Just go into the chain space this time. You don't have to go into that 3rd chain unless you want to with a slip stitch. All right, chain 2. And now we're at our repeat. So just 5 DC in the next chain 4 space. And work this way until you're back to the beginning. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, Okay, so here's how my round looks when it's just about finished. All I have to do is join into the first, it's actually the third slip stitch of this same round. So you're just gonna join into the slip stitch that's at the very top of the chain space. So here's how we look, and we're gonna join with the slip stitch here. Here we go. And then the next thing you're gonna do for the next round is we're gonna go straight into this chain 5 chain space. So you're gonna work around the slip stitch and into your chain 5 space with a single crochet. No chaining up, just go straight into the single. All right, and now we're gonna make chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and you're gonna work into the third double crochet of this chain 5 group. So you're gonna skip 2 doubles and work into this third one. And what you're gonna make is a 2DC cluster. So we're gonna yarn over, okay, sorry about that. So we're gonna yarn over and go straight into this third DC, pull up a loop, and draw the yarn through 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over again, go into the same stitch, pull up a loop, draw the yarn through 2 loops on the hook. Now you've got 3 loops. So yarn over and draw the yarn through all 3 loops to close your 2DC cluster. Now chain 3, and then make a 2DC cluster again in the same stitch. All right, so now you've got 2DC cluster, chain 3, 2DC cluster, all in the same center DC there. Now we'll chain 3, and now you're gonna make a single crochet in this chain 5 space. Just work around the slip stitch and everything, just like that. Okay. Now we'll chain 3, and we're in our repeat now. So just 2DC cluster, chain 3, 2DC cluster in that center double crochet again. Okay, I'll show you what mine looks like when I'm done. Okay, so here's how the round looks when it's finished. And the next round is gonna start in this chain 3 space here. So I'm gonna go straight into the chain 3 space with a beginning DC. So just pull up a loop for the single, make your single in chain 1. That's the first DC of the round. Now chain 1 again for a chain space. Then we're gonna make a double crochet in the same chain 3 space, but just scoot it over a little bit. Just pretend that you're skipping a stitch there. Okay, so then we're gonna make another chain, and now you're gonna work 9 double crochet into this next chain 3 space. All right, just squish them in there. You're rounding a corner, so you've got to have a lot of stitches to round that corner. So you're gonna make 9 DC in the chain space. 5, 6. I'm gonna scoot them over a little so I can fit the last 3. 7, 8, and 9. And then you're gonna chain 1 and go straight back into making your double crochets here. So you've got 9 DC and chain 1. All right, and then make double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in this next chain 3 space. Double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And remember to scoot that second DC over a little bit. Just pretend you're skipping a stitch in the middle. All right, chain 1. Okay, next, same thing. Double crochet, chain 1, scoot it over a little bit, double crochet, chain 1. And now you're back to where you're gonna do 9 DC in this next corner chain space. So here's how it looks so far, and I'll show you how it looks when it's done. Okay, so here's how we're looking for this round. And I went ahead and joined with the slip stitch in the beginning DC here. You can see the round, and we only have 2 more rounds to go. So we're gonna work into this next chain 1 space with a beginning DC. So without chaining up, go straight into a single and a chain 1. And we're not gonna do any more chain spaces here for this part. So we're just gonna work straight into the next stitch with a double crochet, as well as the next chain space with the double crochet. So let me show you how that looks. So we've got 3 DC so far, including the beginning DC. Okay, now we'll chain 3. And you're gonna skip to the middle DC of this 9 DC group. So skip 4 DC and go into this 5th one with 2 DC cluster, chain 3, 2DC cluster. So straight into that same space, just like we did before. 2DC cluster, chain 3, 2DC cluster. All right, and then we'll, whoops, chain 3 again. So here's how we look rounding the corner. And chain 3 again. So now we're going to work into this chain space with double crochet and go into each of these chain space stitch all the way across with double crochet. If I could do it. There we go. Double crochet. And all the way across. And then you're back into your repeat. Once you do the double crochet in that final chain space, you're going to chain 3 and then skip your 4DC and work 2DC cluster, chain 3, 2DC cluster. So now I'm on the part where I chain 3. So here's how we're looking. All right, chain 3, and you're going to skip these 4 and work into the 5th one. 2DC cluster, chain 3, 2DC cluster, all the way around. Okay, so here's my second to last round, how it looks with everything finished. And now our final round is just going to be a single crochet round as usual. So starting in the next stitch, not the same stitch that I joined in, I'm going to make a single crochet, no chaining up, and a single crochet in the next stitch as well. And now we're going to make 4 singles in this chain 3 space. Okay, and then we'll make 5 singles in the next chain 3 space, which is the corner. So 5, and then 4 in the chain 3, so we're getting there here. 4 in the next one. Okay, so we've got 4 singles, 5 singles, 4 singles. Then you're just going to work single crochet across all of these stitches right here, and just work that way till you get back to the beginning. Okay, so here's how the Melbourne Square looks when it's finished. I made a slip stitch into the first single of the round, and that is our third to last square of the VVCAL. So if you've been enjoying these videos, go ahead and subscribe, or you can check out the 2020 VVCAL playlist as well to see all these videos so far. There's only 2 more square videos left, so I will see you guys in the next video.